Hello and welcome to the Loose Boho Reviews. I am your host Smokey, and joining with me as always is my co-host Spooge.
Oh,
And we have our two special guests joining us again, Starfish and Murda.
Hello,
hello.
I'm the starfish.
I'm the murder.
And before we get into it, I gotta give our three rules. Our first rule is our rating must be a 5 out of 5. 1 being we hate it, 5 being we love it. Rule number 2 is if we want our money back, we give it a good old Jeff Goldblum. And rule number 3 is if everybody doing the review agrees upon it, it will get a God tier, a 6 out of 5. And today, we are reviewing Miyazaki's Spirited Away. And everybody was saying they had their review. Everybody was saying they had their rating. But
Yes.
Yes,
But-
that's correct.
but we all promised to fucking talk about it first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about it now.
yeah,
Let's talk
So-
about
yeah.
it.
Isn't
I'm
that what we're
good.
doing?
I'm just saying,
Let's talk
this
about
is
it.
a bit. I'm calling it now before we even start. Kangaroo review. This is a
Uh,
kangaroo
review.
fucking
We're gonna have to go through bird law.
Oh, yes, we are. This is because
Oh,
these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers. Oh, I'm coming in defensive. I'm in a corner. These motherfuckers don't think this
Yeah.
is a god team.
Well,
Again, coming in
one
from
of
the
us did.
corner from high rating.
what? One of the four of us did. That's all that matters, right?
No, I thought 2 of the 4 of us did.
I mean,
Was
I
Scooch
agree
the other
that it's
one?
god tier.
No, it was Starfish. You gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's not. But it's got to be a 6 out of 5.
You gotta agree.
Yeah,
that it,
but if
it
everyone
pushes-
else gave it a 5 out of 5, would it be God tier?
You can
we could do
say
that.
that it's not a god
we
tier
could
rating.
totally fucking do that. I will totally be on board with that.
I thought that was the rule, but maybe I didn't understand.
We have to agree.
I
that
thought
it
the
goes
rule was
above
that-
5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Which
it was.
I believe it does go above fucking 5 out of 5. Y'all are crazy.
Oh,
don't know if
okay,
that
Y'all are
gotcha.
crazy.
I
Had that much
gotcha.
of
This
a-
is
No,
This is like
well, okay.
so-
So I have a reason.
I-
Do you want to know what my reason is?
this won an Oscar.
Yeah, it did. It did. And we can actually go more in depth on that, but it was actually the first Japanese animated film to ever win an Oscar for Best Animated Picture back in 2001,
Yep.
22 years ago.
It was the highest grossing Japanese film until Demon Slayer in 2020. Beat it out. Which I don't understand why.
Oh, really?
'cause that it's really fucking weird.
I think people
don't
just
know
really
why.
like Demon Slayer, and also
I
like
get
ease of
it.
access, probably because like think about the internet
No,
in
it beat it off
2001
in the
versus
box
the internet
office.
now.
It beat it off in the
But
box
I'm
office.
what I'm saying is that like because of the internet, people had easier
They don't
access to
count the
watch
internet-
Demon Slayer the show.
They-
So then when the movie came out, then that made it better. I'm not
I mean-
saying that they
I-
streamed it.
okay,
I'm saying
yeah,
that like
gotcha.
there was
Anime
wider-
is a lot more popular now than it was 22 years ago.
also that.
I also think that is some kangaroo shit right there too.
So my reason why I cannot give this film a 6 out of 5 is that I am only going to give Miyazaki one 6 out of 5, and it's not going to be this film.
What film is it
Oh,
going to be?
that's-
Do you know?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Oh.
So it's for me, it is Princess Mononoke, which is, in my opinion, flawless throughout, and I also don't think that it's as long as this film. Like it's still a 5 out of 5 for me, but I can also see someone, giving it a lower rating for reasons. Like I can clearly see the reasons, like why this movie would not be like a perfect score. You know what I
can't
mean?
I
Yeah.
can't speak. I
But-
can't speak for Murda and Spooge, but I'm totally holding Princess Mononoke's god tier hostage over this.
That's fine.
Also, Princess Mononoke is actually longer than Spirited Away.
Oh, freaking, Spirited
that's
Away
cool.
was supposed to be
I
3
didn't know that.
hours. I'm upset that it wasn't.
I'm glad it was not 3 hours. To be
I want to
honest.
see the 3-hour cut though. I want to see that there was a 3-hour
I mean,
cut. I would
don't
love
get me
to see
wrong.
it.
You're acting as if I didn't like this movie. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I'm just not ready for God tier. Or I gave this a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, you'll find that won't ever be enough.
This movie was near perfect, but it was not perfect to me.
Yeah, I understand, and I will have to state this. I was completely indoctrinated to this film. Cartoon Network played this one excessively, and I loved Studio Ghibli films. I loved when Cartoon Network played them. I loved when they did the marathons of them, but this was the only one that they would play like religious to the point there was one year they literally played this once a week for a whole year. So, and I watched it every time. So it is just I was brainwashed with this. It's just
I get
watched
it, and I don't have the personal level of nostalgia that you have for it either.
Yeah, I was 7 years
Same.
old, and when it came out, and I saw it when it came out, and oh, you best believed, to this day I watch it at least once a year.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like it. It does somewhat fall into that category for me as well. As I do feel like I tend to see this movie roughly about a year apart.
I hadn't watched this movie for a long time. I had seen it like when the first release in the US came out, not in theaters, but we just rented it on VHS. And then I had just seen kind of pieces of it here and there since, and I hadn't given it a full watch since I watched it as a kid.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that
Yeah, me either.
That's pretty cool.
Somehow I would always make sure. I would always make sure to be there. I don't know how.
But I mean, I really enjoyed this movie. Like it was awesome. 4.5 out of 5 is a very high rating to me.
Yes,
Yeah, totally.
It's,
I mean, you're
I
saying
will
it's pretty much
agree.
perfect.
I
Right?
just think y'all are nuts. I just like it. I can't explain it. Again, I'm just because I'm brainwashed. Oh fuck this shit.
Mic thing will die. You might
Oh,
be just switching.
He got spirited away.
I get
Oh, he
spirited
did.
away, but I'm back.
Okay.
That's the power of having two Wi-Fi's.
So we still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. I
Okay,
was
good.
saying y'all were nuts. Y'all are crazy because y'all are saying it's not God tier.
Well,
Yeah.
God tier aside, what were some highlights for people?
It's.
I mean,
man,
mostly
where
everything.
can I begin?
I mean, if I were just rating it based on like visuals and ambience and like aesthetics, it would be a God tier movie. Like it's always interesting to look at like that.
Mhm.
It doesn't ever get boring to look at. I do think it runs a little long, and you can kind of feel its length because
Mhm.
the plot just kind of like it. I'm not saying there's not a plot. There definitely is, but it just kind of, I don't know. There's some things
Fizzles
lacking
out for you?
in. Yeah, it kind of fizzles a bit, but like it's always fun to watch just because of all the things to look at and all. I love watching all the creatures and the spirits and like all those things.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it would be hard to do this, but could you interpret it that the plot might be that this is just her weird like near death hallucination from her drowning in the river? Because
I
that's
mean,
how I've always
could-
interpreted it.
I could take it
like,
that
this
way,
is her
but
journey.
this did happen because in the end, she still has the hair tie that her little friends made her in the cabin with the witch's sister Zaniba. She still has that hair tie, and like the car has leaves and like dust in it, so time has passed, and like so this has happened. I think that this has definitely happened. I can
Mhm.
interpret it that way. I could see that interpretation, but I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah. I always felt that it was just the leaves and the foliage around the car was supposed to symbolize, like, it happened when she was younger, and now she's older, and now she's come to terms with what's happened.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
she the not she this is her. It's
Recognizing her experiences, maybe.
yeah, this is her recognizing it, like coming to full fledged with it.
Yeah, I mean, I like that, but I think I like it more that like this did happen. Like this is something in their world that physically happened.
Hey, again,
Mhm.
I know you feel that it was too long. I personally, this is a personal. I really wish that 3 hour cut was released. I do not get
I
enough
would,
time in this world.
if there
I
was a
want,
3 hour cut, I'd still watch it for sure.
of course,
Mhm.
I would have to. I would have to I would have to force everybody to watch it.
I mean, I'd be happy to watch it. I don't know that it's too long. I was just feeling its length.
Yeah, I think that's understandable. I do think that it you know it kind of has like 5 acts, right?
Mhm.
It
Yeah, that's
it
Yeah,
strays a little bit
it's
away from like the traditional like Western style movie in that
well,
sense, or like
I feel
Western
Miyazaki was
art.
more doing it in more of a play structure and not a film structure. Because a
Yeah,
play can
I could see
be
that.
16 acts. A
Yeah.
play can have
Mhm.
as many acts as you want. I mean, so I just feel that was the whole point, was that, and that's why I want to see the 3 hour cut, because that the problem is we probably are missing a lot of details, because he had to cut a lot of scenes, just like a lot of nuances and stuff like that. He had to cut because
Yeah.
it just like was super. In my research for the movie, he had to cut quite a lot, and it just
I think the live action stage version is a little longer. I know they were playing that at my
I wouldn't
theater
be surprised if the
times.
live action stage was going more on the original script, which of course is
Mm.
3 hours long. Which again, I just, it's personally, the it's my favorite Miyazaki film. I haven't seen all his films. He recently released one, but definitely my favorite. And out of all the Studio Ghibli films, definitely my favorite as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, I'll go ahead and just take some time here to, I'm sure, people watching this review have probably already seen this film. But a young lady and her family moved to a more remote part of Japan, and along the way, they find um, an abandoned theme park. As her parents go into the theme park, suddenly the world starts changing around her very, very quickly. And then she is set off on a coming of age tale that is surrounded by uh, primarily Japanese and East Asian mythology creatures. Or like spirits. She essentially enters the land of the dead um, to kind of become more of a whole person. Here's a plot synopsis for you.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
and I will say, um, I was wondering if y'all think like if the parents hadn't started eating, would this have ever happened?
Hmm.
I think so, yes.
Like you
it's
think
hard
if
for
they
me
didn't
to
if they didn't
say
eat the
'cause
food, this
They might not
would
have turned to pigs, but they probably would have been snatched up some other way.
you think? I don't know.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think
I
I
I
think
think the
they were
spirits were
trapped.
coming out.
I don't know because
I just think that the parents were I don't know. It's hard for me to say because
I assumed that it turned to
I
spirit
s-
world because it was like the day changed, like it turned to night, right? Like the sun
yeah,
went down.
except like it was just daytime and like then it was night all of a sudden. Like it wasn't like coming into sunset or something when they got there. Like it
well,
changed very abruptly. Like
time
it
is
wasn't.
obviously not the same in the spirit world. Time
Yes,
obviously changes once because it goes from night to day quite often.
You,
yes,
Mhm.
is everybody ready for some lore?
sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Oh,
so check this out.
hold on. I just want to state this movie was also actually inspired by a family that Miyazaki was the actual family that the little girl and the mother and the father, while we're on this subject, was inspired by an actual family that Miyazaki worked with. Like they would go to
Did
his
he
house every.
dislike them?
That's cool.
I don't think so. I think it was just.
Because these parents are
So
not shown in a very good light at all. These are awful
No.
parents, and like it's made
I
known that they're
I-
awful.
I mean I know it was a person in the production like studio, like they would come over to his house every summer apparently.
So that could
So
be him
it was-
just being very aware of how parents generally are towards their
Yeah,
kids. No.
yeah.
And I when we were watching, I was wondering like, are these parents or is this family supposed to be like American? They look very American. They like
I
are
have
very
more.
Yeah,
I
they
boisterous,
kinda
like-
I
like
think one of them is
themselves.
supposed
They
to
don't-
be.
I have
they don't carry
lore.
themselves.
I think
Does
one
it
of
have
them
to
is
do
supposed
with
to
I
if
be-
have
they're American?
lore.
I think one
Yes.
of okay. I think one of them's supposed to be American, but go on, Starfish.
The dad.
All right, so check
That
this
dad
out.
is American. I don't know.
All right,
Yeah,
so
for
check this
sure.
out. So one of the reasons why it translates so quickly into nighttime is because, as all three of you have mentioned, they enter the spirit world essentially. One of the ways Miyazaki shows this to us is when they first come up onto the path, like right before the theme park, they see a torii gate. Torii gates are generally entrances to shrines in the Shinto religion, which is Japan's native religion. Entering through one is to enter into the sacred realm of the gods or kami, or it can be also like entering the world of the yokai, which is another term for spirits. Although yokai are generally ghosts. Anyways,
They also
this
yokai sometimes are mistranslated into demon as well.
yeah, yeah, they can be. The other thing, so I think it's really cool that everyone picked up on the theme and like he never comes right out and says like, oh, these are American people or anything like that. Um, but what he does do is that they enter an abandoned theme park, and the reason that the theme parks exist in the first place, as we find out in the film, is like, oh, whenever there was a boom, all these theme parks were built, and then all of a sudden they ran out of money and now they don't exist. Which is, one of the characters says that in the film. Um, and I think it's the mom, maybe. Um, but this is used to signify how Western ideals are. How well, we're gonna build all this. We're gonna build this huge structure to make money. Okay, it stopped making money. Let's abandon it. Whereas
Mhm.
Japanese culture is really not structured in that way. There's a lot of places in Japan. That aren't built just only to function as what me and my father both call consumption temples. Where you're entering this place to spend money. This is a place where money is spent because money should be spent. And then another thing with that too, is the whole transforming into the pigs, right? So the parents transform into the pigs. In other words, what he's saying is that, and what he's saying by this is like her parents are their primary motivation in life is greed. They're greedy people is what he's saying by that. Is that like they're not going to try and like they're not going to do what would be considered maybe more right in Japanese culture, which would be to like, oh well, if someone made all this food, we should find out who made this food. Um, Another like kind
before you
of
go on, ain't the transforming of the pigs also an ancient folklore as well? Like that is.
yeah, so in Japanese folklore, there are lots and lots of people who get turned into animals, kami that turn into animals, yokai that turn into animals. There's a lot of transformation, which is kind of like a little bit of a foreshadowing of, oh, she's in a realm where things can transform. Now, as far as the actual pigs themselves, um, it's interesting. So, here's a fact for you. Miyazaki actually loves pigs. And of course, Japanese folklore involving humans and spirits transforming into animals is very, very common. And he actually loves pigs so much that he made a film. And maybe you guys know this film. It's called Porco Rosso,
Yeah, I know that
Never
uh,
seen
one.
it, but I'm
which
aware
is
of it.
which is a film based on a man who turns into a pig.
Oh,
As far as mythology goes, I mean, that's also, I think that's a kind of universal one because in Greek mythology, Circe was turning people into pigs as well. So this is kind of a common theme that people get turned into
and also in
pigs.
some
I'm a
more
pig.
extreme and more
I'm a
extreme
pig. I just looked up my
fundamentalist.
Chinese zodiac. I remember
Yeah,
that.
also in some extreme fundamentalist Islamic circles, they believe that pigs are actually what Christians evolve into.
Oh boy!
Yep. Oink oink,
Hey,
boys.
you know what? I'm a rep the pigs. I'm a rep the fucking pigs. With pride.
I did see this, and this very American or very Western styled couple comes in and is just like greedy as fuck, just like gluttonous, and they get turned into pigs.
Yeah, that's definitely
Yeah.
a good interpretation, though. I mean, that
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's double meaning behind everything that he does in this, because every detail is significant. There's not a single small detail that's like, oh, I just want this to be here.
Yeah. I mean, I was with it. I was just like, yeah, these Americans they're pigs.
Capitalist pig dogs.
So they walked into the theme park, her parents get turned into pigs, and then she meets someone, and that someone is Haku. How do we feel about Haku?
He was kind of my least favorite character. I didn't dislike him by any means. He was just the least interesting character to me.
I feel he's the one that got the most characterization cut from the movie.
Yeah,
I think I
that
would
that
have
made me so.
appreciated him more if he wasn't Max Goop.
Because
I will say I did before we recorded today. When I got home, I put on the Japanese audio version, and I mean he doesn't
Nice.
sound that much off of Max Goof. Like it's not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he doesn't sound exactly like him, but like the voice is not that much different. None of the voices are that much different from the English dub.
It's not even really the voice. It's more I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it is awkward, but I just felt like the delivery there was a distance in the delivery. There was an awkwardness of like and it's something that I always notice with a lot of dubs then I'll go and watch the sub, and even though I don't understand what they're saying, I could read it. But what I hear is like their inflections sound natural, and
I agree with that.
I can definitely agree. Haku is the weakest voice actor. If we're all saying that.
Yeah.
We are sub overdub club here.
Because that's why I kind of got gaslit into thinking
I like
that he
both.
wasn't
I
like
like
an
a mixture
interesting
of both.
character, that he was going to be my least But you know, as it went on and like there was a little bit more intrigue, especially with them being like a dragon.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
You
definitely,
know,
like I said, I
I
definitely didn't dislike
but
him.
that's the
I
that,
just
I don't,
he's
but
I
I could
don't
also
really
see
think
that he
about
was
him
kind
that
of,
much.
yeah. It was hard to see him a little bit beyond like also like I could see like he was created so like if a like little girl is watching this, it's like ooh I get to have a dragon boyfriend.
but you can also kind of state that his kind of non-personality delivery comes from the fact that he's supposed to be a human interpretation of a actual
Or a
river
river.
that doesn't have
Yeah.
a
well,
personality. So you could
uh,
say that
I want to. Yeah, totally. I kind of want to back up just a little bit.
it,
So she meets Haku, right? And they have to run. He is trying to actively hide her from the spirits that are slowly starting to pop out, and he throws some what look to be blossom petals up in the air, and that is actually based on a magical practice from Shinto and Chinese Taoism, as well as Wujing, and it's specifically an art that involves combining astrology and divination.
nice.
Um, let's see. Also, he then gives her a berry to eat so she doesn't disappear. This is referenced a lot in Japanese folklore. A
I want to bring this up. It's not just Japanese folklore. The fairy world, Western
Yep,
myth.
fairies too.
You cannot eat the in the fairy world or you be trapped as well.
Right, but see, that's where it differs a little bit, right? Because if you eat the fairy's food, then you're trapped. Whereas
Forever, you can
the
escape from
r-
this.
yeah, and yeah, she can escape from this. But that's a pretty like and again like leaning very heavily into those mythological archetypes. Um,
She can escape, but only with permission of said fairies. Really, I mean, she can't escape
right.
on her own.
Well, that's only because of that's only because she becomes owned by them, right? Um, which we could jump to that too. So she eats the food, tries to escape, um, doesn't do a super good job, and then what happens?
She goes to Kamaji. Kamaji happens.
Yep, yeah. Haku goes and tells her to talk to the Boiler Man, Kamaji.
Oh,
Um,
my favorite weed man.
yeah, definitely like pretty great character all around. So interesting things on Kamaji. Um, Kamaji is supposed to resemble the traditional spider spirits of Japan. They were giant spiders that are generally depicted with the face of an oni, and I think maybe Smokey knows what an oni is, right?
I also know.
Oh,
I
you.
also know.
All
I
right, tell me, what's an oni? Our crowd wants to know. This is the burning questions, guys. What's an oni?
Yeah, it's basically the equivalent of like a
Like
Japanese equivalent of a demon, right?
a
Like an
demon,
old
right?
Yeah.
ogreish
Yeah. Yep.
fucking
yeah.
With
It's
traditional,
more
I mean, I think
it's
of like the red face with the
yeah,
horns.
the
Maybe they
ogre
could be blue too.
oni is what
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
going to say ogre.
Yeah, and then we also have um, another interesting thing with that. So these spider spirits they had the face of an oni, but the body of a tiger, um, which may be why he's so muscular. These spirits could change their appearance to human form in order to confuse their prey. Um, since they can transform their body into any shape, they can also stretch their limbs. Um, which is why we see, his limbs just are ridiculous, right?
Yeah, he can
Like
stretch
he
them all
just
over
they be
that thing.
flying around. And then let's see. So in uh, the traditional Japanese folklore, these spiders flourished until they were exterminated by Emperor Gimu. Um, so these spirits used to exist all over Japan until Emperor Gimu happened. which may be why we only ever see him. There's no other
Is
uh,
Emperor Gimu
Kami.
a real emperor or like a made up emperor?
I,
like a
I,
we don't
he's a
know
fo- he,
emperor?
I don't know. I didn't research that. I mean,
Okay.
I just researched the folklore. I didn't look into Gimu.
I just want
Um,
to know who really got slaughtered.
I mean, you could kind of also interpret that as he's the emperor over the. It's I can't believe it's soot, the soot that he brings to life, that he like has the slave workforce.
yeah. So suit sprites. Which I think this is wild. Suit sprites are an original idea from Miyazaki. They do not exist in the traditional Japanese folklore in any way, shape, or form,
Yep.
which is pretty wild. But also, I think is like metaphorically, I think that's really great, right? Like he ties his own idea to the only one of a kind spirit in the entire film. Like we know that there are multiple types of spirits. They exist in populations like in this world, right? But only the suit sprites are
That's why I
only
feel we
with
don't see
Komachi.
enough. We only see the bathhouse, the train, and I can't believe I'm blanking out on her name. Zimbab Zim
Which one? Zaniba?
Zaniba.
Or,
Yeah,
or
Zaniba.
I was
Yubaba?
about to say Zimbamba.
Zaniba.
Zaniba. Thank
Well,
you.
yeah.
Thank you, Murda.
Yes. Yubaba is the one at the bathhouse, and then Zaniba is her sister.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's all we see of this world, and I love seeing that. I want to see more. I would like.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
see
I'd agree.
something outside of this world. Just
I
don't
want to know. I want to know about those duck spirits.
Oh yeah. I couldn't tell if they were like almost like they seemed Kappa like Kappa adjacent.
They're like
almost.
Kappa,
Yes.
like, but they're like
think
ducks.
they were supposed to be Kappas.
Yeah,
It's hard
they're
to
his
say.
take on Kappa.
Okay. Because I can
Uh,
see then the leaf is catching the dew then of
Yep.
water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Then that's the bowl. Okay.
a little bit more on Kamaji and the suit sprites. So we have Haku telling her, telling Chihiro, the main character of this film. We have Haku telling Chihiro, well, you have to help Kamaji, and he'll try to trick you. He'll try to make you not work for him, but you have to work for him.
Which he
the
didn't really
interest-
do that.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because that didn't really happen. What's it called? The suit sprites. She actually helps the suit sprites. If you notice, she doesn't. She just tells Kamaji over and over again that she can work, she can do work on all this stuff, right? And he keeps telling her no. And then she goes and grabs one of the coal from the suit sprites.
Yeah.
And then
crushed.
yeah, and then what we see is all the suit sprites all of a sudden all let them fall and drop on her, so that
They
she can.
fucking unionize. They unionize.
Yep,
on
they
her ass.
unionize. They're like, "Oh, you're gonna do it? Okay, cool."
Strike.
Now, what did Komaji say to her? Komaji told her to stop. That she
You
cannot
can't steal people's jobs.
You can't steal people's jobs, and by doing so, a pretty awesome and valid lesson is placed here, which she needs to find her own place. That she can't really take anyone's place because she's already her.
That's a really
which
good
is like,
interpretation of that, man.
yeah. So because of that, she's not a soot sprite. So then we get to meet Lynn.
Who
I'm
I did not know if Lynn was human or what was going on with her.
I think I don't think any of the bath workers are human. It's because they definitely have lizard-like features and more reptilian.
Except Lynn doesn't, right?
Lynn didn't
No.
to me, because there were other like
She-
humanoid, humanoids, but they had like little things going on that weren't superhuman, like little
I totally
holes
see
in their head and stuff.
I totally see a slender salamander like face in Lynn. Like a little
I
reptilian
didn't.
face in her.
I,
I
she
totally
looked
see
like
the I see the
Miyazaki's like
I
woman.
think she's supposed to seem the less reptilian because she's supposed to be the most trustworthy. I think the most reptilian they look because the straight up frog, you can't trust that little fucker whatsoever. He tries to snitch him out as soon as he sees him on the bridge.
Yeah,
yeah.
you
So
can't trust it. You can't trust those ducks. You don't know what they're gonna
yeah,
do.
so I strongly do believe like the more reptilian the character looks, the more untrustworthy
Because
they are.
the women looked more like they were like paintings of like, like
So
that type of like Japanese style,
so everyone is both correct and not correct. All right, so Lynn is supposed to be the transformed spirit of Byakko, which is
Oh.
the white tiger of the West.
Oh,
Um,
But we get no hint of this, like
don't.
in the movie.
we don't, and the reason that she is
she's the mentor.
representative
She's
of
the
this
mentor.
because-
in the hero's journey, Lynn would be considered the mentor. I always thought it was Haku, which I always felt it was a little weak, but it's fucking Lynn.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
The reason why she is Byaku is because of the relationship to the planet Venus, which is why she just looks like a lady.
oh,
Nice.
well, shit.
Which, I mean, again, there was just no explanation for that
No,
whatsoever.
no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You had to be Miyazaki.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe maybe that was left behind in the hour that was cut.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I could see it being a thing of like, oh, well, you haven't seen my true form. Like everyone's got forms here, kid. Or
Yeah, at
something
least
like
like
that,
a hint toward it because she's just human presenting and we don't really get backstory with her besides she wants to leave.
Right.
Yeah, I just assumed she was like some because it seemed like even though it was taboo for a human to be there, it seemed like it maybe like
They got over it
I
pretty
don't know.
quick.
Yeah, they got over it when she had the job.
Yeah,
And,
they get
so,
over
like, maybe,
humans being
maybe
there
I
pretty
thought
quick.
like maybe Lynn was like in a similar, but maybe not exactly. Maybe she was like half dead or some shit. I don't know how it worked. But I just thought
Yeah.
she was like, oh, she's more of a person and not like more of a less of a corrupted spirit, like the other ones seem to be.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
we back up just a tiny bit? I want to point
Sure.
out how
Apparently she's a
how
fucking type.
wonderful. I just want to point out how wonderful this that Miyazaki extrapolates the hero's journey. Okay, so first step of the hero's journey introduces the ordinary world. That's obviously the car scene. Them driving. Then we get the wonderful call to adventure that would be them finding the amusement park, and then them eating the food and stuff, and her refusal
Which was terrifying.
of the call.
Sure.
Yes, and the refusal of the call would be her like trying to get them not to go onto the adventure, so that and then we're now on the fourth meeting with the mentor, and we're about to get with meeting with the mentor, we're gonna get to crossing the threshold, which would be meeting Yubaba.
Yep. So we go and meet Yubaba, and I have a lot of information on Yubaba. Before I get to it, though, I do want this film takes place in a bathhouse, and we meet the boiler man of said bathhouse. In the Shinto religion, there's a practice called misogi, which is the act of purification through bathing, and it's actually tied to their creation story, and that is why they have this ritual of misogi. Now, in misogi, and this also ties to why there are spirits at the bathhouse. Ostensibly, spirits don't need to bathe, right? They're ethereal. But the reason for this misogi is people when you do that practice, you invite your own guardian spirits to bathe with you to help purify you. And the reason you invite them to bathe with you is that you are asking them to ward off other spirits that may be evil or more evil than your own spirits, to prevent yourself and your spirits being corrupted.
Protection
Another-
from the ducks.
Yeah,
Yep.
and another fun information about the bathhouse. There's an actual bathhouse in real life that you could go to that Miyazaki was inspired by. There's actually a tiny story to where like there was a door in the bathhouse in one of the tubs,
Mhm.
and he was always like wondering what was behind that door, and that kind of what inspired this world was that bathhouse.
Yeah, and which is really cool because you are absolutely correct. As far as we have like recorded writings and stuff, there is a bathhouse that purports to be the oldest bathhouse in Japan, and he modeled the entire set of this of the bathhouse that he drew off of that one. And then, of course, for anyone who may not know, bathhouses and public bathing have been in Japanese culture for centuries and centuries. It is something that they've
Oh, you think
always
they got the
done.
fucking chutes? The little chutes of water that come down with all the like the fucking herbal shit?
I hope
Yeah,
so.
probably.
That'd be fucking sweet.
All right, so
That'd be cool.
so she meets Lynn. Lynn tells her, "Hey, I don't really like you. She's super standoffish. You're a nasty human. I have to now sneak you up to Yubaba because I owe Kamaji a favor now, and just kind of seems like this is gonna be a hassle, right?" So they go up the many elevator systems to the highest level, up to Yubaba, and when she meets Yubaba, she doesn't knock on the door, which is rude. So Yubaba's response to that is to use her magic to pull her through all the way to where she is currently doing paperwork.
Just a note on that of her, being rude. That's also what made me wonder if they were American, because also when she first meets Kamaji and Kamaji helps her and says, "Go talk to Yubaba," she does not say thank you. She just runs off, and Lynn's like, "Are you not going to say thank you? He just helped you." So then she bows and says thank you. So like she's kind of learning their customs, but I'm guessing these are kind of just Japanese customs.
Yeah, it would be something that at her age she would have already have known all this.
That might just be a stand of the youth of Japanese culture today don't really see the same with the Tokyo movie that me and Spooge tackles the same thing. Like the youth doesn't really take the customs of Japan as serious as they used to.
Mm-hmm.
And it just that
What
could
was
just be
that?
a stand-in for
Was that a Death Kappa you're talking about?
No, Tokyo Story.
Tokyo Story. Okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha,
which is apparently like a Citizen Kane film, and this one is too. I want to bring that up. This is revered as a Citizen Kane movie, greatest of all time. Can't believe I can't give it a god tier.
Did we watch Tokyo Story?
Yes, we did. We reviewed it.
Oh yeah. I kind of remember now. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I would probably find Citizen Kane boring at this point.
Citizen Kane. I don't
It
like
got
Citizen
spoiled.
Kane.
It got spoiled for me.
Fucking
So,
Citizen
like,
Kane fucking does suck. I will admit. Citizen Kane does suck. But Tokyo Story doesn't suck.
I get what
Tokyo
you mean. I get the analogy. Yes, I get that. I get the comparison.
I already know what Rosebud is.
Yeah, we all know what Rosebud is. We don't have to watch the movie. We watched the Simpsons episode.
But oh yeah, I don't think I ever really clarified on my reason because there's to go back on our rating real quick. There's a little bit of chaos with the ratings. I mean, with all of us. I mean, at least with me, it kind of went up 3 different ways. It started with a a 4.5, then I went down to a 4, and then it went to a 5.
Oh, you're at a
Oh.
5 now.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
at a 5 now.
Oh.
So we have 3 5 out of 5s and a 4.5.
I thought you were sitting at a 4 when we last talked, so.
I was doing the thing where I was like, yeah, I'm at a 5, but I'm not. I wouldn't say it's a god tier 5
Right.
for me yet.
Gotcha.
I don't think yet, because I feel like I need to like watch this again later. You know, like maybe like later in the year, like early next year. You know,
Hmm.
like because there's a lot of things like thinking back, just especially like I love the bathhouse, but it's going outside of the bathhouse, the train station stuff. That really kind of like sunk me in, because like
Yeah,
all
I
the
love
weird
the I love the
in-between
train
shit,
station. Yeah.
all the weird
Ooh,
in between
it's
shit of
the
that was just
road
very
back. We
there,
jumping forward.
there's a lot of it was
Yep,
very David
sure are.
Lynchian almost too, yeah. And
Yeah,
it was
And
like
I also
I liked how it played with the dream aspect of this too, which I always love.
definitely.
I'm
I
always a
also
sucker for
wanted to
dreams.
check out the little town that the bathhouse is in, like the little theme park town, because like
Yeah.
you
Oh
saw
yeah, we
little
never see that
little
fully.
spirits like at restaurants and in the shops and stuff. So like I want to know what's going on with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Anyway, I know that you were on a track and we
Yeah.
derailed.
No, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Let's
It's
get
fine.
back-
I have like so much mythological information. I'm just trying to,
Yeah, well,
give it.
I got I got a good segue back. Let's get back to the
All right.
test, allies, and enemies. We done crossed the threshold. We've met Yababa. Now we gotta do
Yeah.
the test, allies, and enemies.
All right. So, Ubaba, she is a lot. Both in terms of the role she plays in this film, in terms of the lore, as well as questions around her. Ubaba's name translates into Old Hot Water Woman. uh, and from my own perspective, I personally see her as the primary antagonist. However, Miyazaki has stated publicly that she is not the villain of this film, but rather a neutral party who focuses everything that she can into her bathhouse.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I
she's
never.
definitely. There's not really. If she's not the villain, then there's really no villain.
I
And
would
as
say
far
no,
like
no face
she's
is the
kind.
villain.
Oh, I wouldn't say No Face is the
No,
villain
No
either.
Face is not the villain.
I don't know.
We
that this
disagree
movie
on that.
Has like
I
a
just want to
villain.
say no face. Well, to be honest, Yababa does the villain Tridecadon. So yeah, no, I take that
She
back.
is. She
She's
is
a
an
vi- she's
antagonist, but
villainous.
like
She's definitely
she's not
villainous.
so villainous that like Chihiro or Sin. Now she is Sin after she talks to Yubaba, but she's not like terrified of her. She talks to her. She like interacts with her. She's not just terrified of her all the time. She's not. She kind of is an antagonist though because she's trapping people. I mean, I don't think all of
Yeah.
these people in the bathhouse are here willingly by any means.
Probably not.
I
I mean, Lynn is saying, "I really want to leave. Why
I can
can't
do
you
a
leave
quick
then?"
tangent. I can do a quick tangent to prove murder right. She does the villain's tridecagon. The villain's tridecagon is the equivalence of the hero's journey, but for the villain of your story. And you got to do the villain's tridecagon if you're gonna do a good villain. And they do. They do it perfectly. All right. First step, she's magical. She's magical. We know for a fact she's a witch, right? All right, magical
Right.
witch. She's definitely contacted herself in the past. All right, that's step number one. Every villain's got to do that. Step number two, that gives them the ability to time travel. And with the ability to time travel, they start looking for a magical power, a special power, the bathhouse, basically. And what do you do? What do you do when you're looking for a fucking bathhouse? What do you do when you're looking for? You goddamn Norda boy.
I don't know if I understood.
Okay. All right.
Understood.
All right. To get back to this, she's based off of the mountain witch from Japanese folklore, called Yama Ubaba. In the Japanese folklore, Yama Uba hide in the mountains, and they are either young women who ran away after being accused of crimes, or elderly women who were abandoned by their families.
Old bitches.
It also tends to follow older women. There are some examples of younger women running away and becoming mountain witches. However, it is typically older women who can no longer care for themselves or their families. And they would actually, in the very olden days, like very olden days, would be taken to the mountains and left to die there. So that they wouldn't eat the food from the younger members of the family who need it more to provide for the family.
Some
Um,
old 30-year-old hags.
um, because of this, these women would often grow horns and or sharp teeth and learn how to perform the dark magics, and they would grow evil due to, the neglect of their families.
I like to
King
think
his
that there
horns.
was just like a bunch of them that didn't die in the mountains and just became like rulers of the mountain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely, and I have some actual factual stuff too with that.
Al-
Uh,
Also, uh, we just recently were talking about how fucking old people can grow horns, little tumors.
Yep. Yeah,
Shooting
yeah,
his
me
shooting
and
his horn.
Spooch learned that the other day.
It's just that's disturbing.
Yep. So Ube Sute, which think I'm butchering that, translated means abandoning old women. So that word means abandoning old women. And in Japan, there's actually a mountain called Ubesute Yama, which means the mountain of abandoning old women. So
Oh yeah, that I remember seeing that was a practice. It's just like oh, you can't work anymore and you can't take care of yourself, so just gonna carry you up to the mountain and leave you up there.
yep.
Bye, mama.
Now, interesting thing with these mountain witches, which I think this is the most wild and ridiculous thing. However, it does apply to their folklore. Um, so while they are becoming mountain witches, in the folklore, they often raise many, many children. And there is one folklore where the mountain witch character actually uh, gives birth to a child every single month. And then they are often raise these children to be their subjects and great and powerful warriors. Now, also with Humbaba, there it is also believed to be inspired by the Baba Yaga, which is from Russian folklore. Now, the reason that we know that Baba Yaga is involved with this is because of the bird form that she takes later in the film, as
Mhm.
well as uh, Miyazaki in one of his later short films called Mr. Doe and the Egg Princess
Ooh,
actually has a character named Baba Yaga.
ooh, yeah, boy, I need to
Um,
watch that.
You
and
could also say
in
her having a big ass baby trapped into her den is also a good
Yep,
nod to Yabba. I'm messing the name up.
Baba
Baba
Yaga.
Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So uh she has a couple of different, maybe familiars would be a good westernized way. However, we meet her three pet heads almost right away when we meet her. Those are also from Japanese folklore, and these were a type of yokai.
They fucking
And they
fall
would
on you.
wait. Yep, they would wait for people to rest underneath a tree or underneath a bridge, and then they would fall on them and eat them. Um, However, they could also be based off of Dorama dolls.
Huh. Japanese drop bears.
Now, when
Yeah,
she
yeah,
meet
they are Japanese drop bears.
when she meets Ubaba, Chihiro meets Ubaba, and Ubaba's very frustrated, all this kind of stuff. However, Chihiro finds her courage, and really, crosses the threshold, I would say, and takes that like first step into the big adventure,
It
by
would
getting
be,
the job.
it would start her test allies and tribulations, and that would be the, we kind of speed up tiny bit. That would be the space between her and letting No Face in, and No Face in letting No Face in would be approaching the innermost cave, and then you get the ordeal, and that would be No Face like losing his shit. That's and the reward is
So
her leaving the bathhouse.
so when Ubaba takes her name, you guys remember how she physically pulls her name off of the paper, right? She signs her name and she
Yes.
says, "Oh, such a lovely name." However, you're going to be Sen. So
Mhm.
in the kanji of Chihiro, the kanji for Chihiro means 1,000 questions, um, and because of that, the symbol for 1,000 is Sen, and that's the one that gets left on the paper, ostensibly forcing her into this new life as the character Sen. Um,
Mhm.
Also, um, just from my own speculation, so she came from a name that meant 1,000 questions, and then now she is left with only the name of 1,000. And I took this to be representative of the fact that she removed Chihiro's ability to question. Because Chihiro no longer questions, like, why are we doing this? Oh, I don't want to do this. This is weird, all this stuff. She no longer questions anymore. She just exists now. Like, she just exists and becomes very, very quickly accepting of this new role as a bathhouse worker.
Yeah, she's like fighting to like not forget why she's like even there a lot of the time too. That just like getting caught up in the in sort of the routine of it.
hmm Words and names are extremely important to Shinto religion, and in fact, they have like a lot of different like warding talismans and stuff where you write the names of like your elders essentially to give you protection, all that kind of stuff. Um, Now, she also, by taking her name in Shinto, would be seen as taking power over her life or gaining power over them. Um, which is why later on, when Chihiro remembers a certain character's name, they become freed from Ubaba's power.
That would be part of the resurrection.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so all that. Sorry, Yubaba was a huge section. There was a lot on her. Just wanted to get
Yeah.
it all out there. Um,
Yes.
Moving forward, Lynn tells her, "Oh, you did such a great job. You're gonna be so great. Like you really got the gumption, kid. All these things," and she just breaks down. Um, which what I mean, what 12-year-old kid would not break down after seeing their
If I'm not
parents be
mistaken,
turned
she's
into
supposed to be
pigs?
10. If I'm not mistaken,
10,
she's
10 year 10 years old,
I
10-year-old
mean,
kid.
I would break down as an adult. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
Yeah,
Um,
I'd probably like run out
understand.
screaming when I saw the old lady.
This whole scenario is completely relatable because what if you're just like pals just hanging out and can encounter this scenario and now you got to fucking worry about getting two of your friends back from fucking turning into pigs.
yeah,
It's
yeah. I mean, it's super terrifying. Um, she quickly falls into the routine of things, as Spooge said, and then we start meeting a whole host of different spirits. Um, One of the first ones that we meet before the big one that I know Smokey is dying to talk about is the stink spirit. Um,
oh
the stink spirit is traditional as well, um, and it's actually would be a person, so a yokai made of mud that emerges from the rice fields at night. Um,
they profiled though. He wasn't a stink spirit. They fucking
he was
no,
profiled.
he was
stinky though.
not. He was stinky, and he was a river. that became this way due to the pollution of his body in the mortal plane. She
So-
frees him of this form.
So
Um,
now are would that mean that there was a river in the spirit world? If this was actually happening, that would mean there's a river. I wonder if that was one of the scenes, like they cut to like a real river in the real world, just like depolluting magically.
Oh,
yeah,
that would have
could
been
be.
cool.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to see.
See,
I don't know.
we
I
won't
don't know
know
what
though
was cut.
because there's no
I didn't.
3 hour cut.
Yeah. So she frees him of this form. And then we get this really interesting scene. Again, going back into that kind of Lynchian space, right? Where we're all of a sudden in a white void, and we see a mask. That mask is based off of a traditional theater mask, and they look almost identical. So he pulled that straight from early Japanese theater, and that mask was meant to represent that of a wise old man. Whoever wore it was oftentimes like the mentor character.
It's probably the scariest thing in this whole film.
Yes, I agree.
I
Besides the scene where she first sees her parents as pigs, like that was like
It's
terrifying.
abrupt.
Yeah,
It's
kind of
abrupt.
fun. It can be
it's fun, but it's
Uh,
terrifying.
I have to say, No Face still. I was a kid when I first saw it, so it could be some slack. I was caught off guard. I thought he was a friend, and then he stopped being a friend.
Well-
Oh no, he
No-
is scary.
No Face is interesting.
And
So with No Face,
those- I don't know who did it, but whoever did those,
Uh,
Yep, I have
that is
information
so
on that, too.
disturbing.
so No Face. Let me look here. No Face is based off of the traditional mask from Japanese theater, which is often called the faceless. Interesting thing. You mentioned that you know his little noises that he makes. That
So
that
unsettling.
voice actor also voices a whole host of characters in Princess Mononoke.
Oh, nice.
In the traditional, like in the sub. So
And they
you know,
kept-
he
they
met
kept
Miyazaki in that work, and then he brought him over into this one.
And they kept the original as for the dubbed.
I don't know. I would have to watch the subbed version again. But I'm pretty sure
They
it's the same
sounded the
noise.
same.
I,
Yeah,
sounded
then
the
yes,
same.
then it'd be the
that'd
same.
be really cool. I mean, it's not impossible to do, so that's really cool. But
Yeah, it would save
Oh,
them
that's-
money.
that's definitely very disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that when I watched it as a little kid for the first time, that was one of my like things that stuck with me is just him doing those little noises.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, I think it's actually a great choice because of how striking No Face is. We meet No Face pretty early because he's kind of following around Sen/Chihiro. You know, he's first met in that bridge scene with the frog guy.
Fucking eats him.
Just kind of out on the out. Well, yeah, I mean he does later. But just she sees him there. She sees him again a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
of times during the sequence before she actually lets him into the bathhouse.
Yes,
Um,
he was
and
on the
again-
bridge and they made eye contact.
hmm
Mhm.
I
Big
gotta
mistake.
state when she lets him into the bathhouse, that is step 7 of her hero's journey. That's approaching the innermost cave.
Mhm.
So we saw that old mask man, and so you know a lot of the traditional theater stuff of Japan is in this film as well. which goes to Smokey a bit. Um, During our pre-discussion of this recording, we did bring up, like, it's not a traditional 4-act type of film, right? It's not like an intro, a rising action, a climax, and a conclusion. It's not that with
No,
this film.
it's
It's
definitely
a bit
not.
more detailed. Um, Now, so she saw the old man mask. The river spirit then flies away as a dragon, and in Japanese as well as a lot of East Asian mythology, dragons are thought to have control over water in its various forms. So there would be river dragons, rain dragons, hail dragons, ocean dragons, lake dragons, all that kind of stuff. Um, which is why when the stink demon shows up, it's pouring down rain, and then it stops when he leaves. Which also brings us into Haku, which is number one dragon boyfriend. He is
I
also
wouldn't
a
say
river
that.
spirit,
I
which is
wouldn't say
why
that.
he is the dragon.
I wouldn't say he's number one dragon boyfriend, but I can agree that he's
I
alright.
I didn't really see their love as romantic.
No, I
No.
didn't
Oh, yeah,
see it as
no.
I didn't
romantic
either.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't say that either. I was just saying that I feel like there's a little bit of like, I feel like he was bait for little girls.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he was.
he shouldn't have had that Farquaad haircut if he was going to be a bait. But
Hey,
I
you know,
think
he
I just
wants
feel
to
like
be
for
part of
most
Team
little girls,
Galactic.
like
Come
turning
on
into
now.
a dragon is gonna be like give you like 10 points.
His favorite, his favorite Pokemon games, Pokemon Platinum. Cut him some slack.
Miyazaki
I'm
was
going
just
through
like,
innocent girl logic.
what did
Alright.
12-year-old girls like? They like Farquaad haircuts. He saw Shrek like the year before, and something just resonated with them.
Yeah, absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's actually a specific crowd that would actually defend that.
Our next major interaction is No Face. Um, we've seen this character kind of floating about, and then after cleansing the Rever Spirit, being praised by Yubaba and Lin and by the majority of workers in the bathhouse, she's kind of she has gone from this fledgling young lady into kind of someone who's like, oh, that I this is what I do and all this stuff. Questions have kind of ceased. She's gotten into the routine of things, and then she lets No Face into the bathhouse. Now, I know everyone has a lot of opinions on No Face. Um, no Face seems to be a chameleon for his surroundings. He acts like a gaki in the bathhouse, which is the hungry ghost in Japanese culture.
He
These
causes the
ghosts,
ordeal
he causes the ordeal. These
for
ghosts,
her hero's journey.
these ghosts, when he's in the bathhouse, they can never satiate their hunger. Gaki in modern Japanese means like in their language today, if you call someone a gaki, you're essentially saying that they're spoiled or a brat, and is often used as an insult. The gaki are created when those who in their mortal life were exceptionally greedy. Um, However, with No Face, um, the ordeal happens, and I'll let Smokey run with that.
Yes, the ordeal, which of course is him going crazy within the bathhouse. He starts with the frog. He eats the frog, and then I want to say him eating the frog more or less r- ramps up his greed. Like that's
Oh yeah.
what really that like he takes on the personality of the frog, and you definitely can't trust that fucking frog.
No,
So
you
he
can't
definitely
fucking
gets
trust that, bro.
So he gets that personality. He gets way more greedy, and that just causes him to get way more gluttonous, and he starts going on. And then of course, with Chihiro, it's her ordeal. So she's got to tackle it, and when she does, she gets the reward, which the reward would be her leaving the bathhouse and being able to get to her road back, which would be her going to uh, Zimbabwe. Not the name.
Zaniba.
Zaniba. Thank
Zaniba.
you. Thank you. Yes.
Zimbabwe.
Her going to Zimbabwe. Her going to Zaniba's house would be the road back. That would be of the road, and her resurrection would be at Zaniba's house. And then her getting back and saving her parents is return with the elixir.
Small little tidbit. The small frog that she eats is based off of the anthropomorphic toads found in scroll paintings from the 12th century.
Oh, that's
Evidence
definitely
to the
very
frogman.
apparent. Yeah,
I've seen a lot of them in Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Also,
anthropomorphic frogs is definitely a thing.
The Tomberries are kind of like that.
Also, a nice little callback to Pixar. I
kinda more lucky,
kind of
too.
assumed this like all throughout my whole childhood, but y'all confirmed it for me that the lamp is a callback to Pixar. The sound effect they use, it's just way too on the nose for it not to be.
Yes, Miyazaki was a big fan of Pixar. And since Disney actually helped fund this, it was, I don't know if he was the head of Pixar or he was very involved with Pixar at the time, really vouched for this movie and got them funding. And then Disney ended up presenting it internationally as well.
I was
Yeah.
one dude. Was it the
But-
Toy Story guy that turned out to be a
Yes, it was him.
pedophile? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was he a pedophile?
Oh man,
Another
Another one bites the dust.
I can't. I need to look up the actual name of this guy before I.
It's
say
Lassiter.
pedophile.
The last name is Lassiter.
Yeah, Lassiter.
Okay,
Lassiter,
then yeah, it was
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yep.
Oh man.
It's unfortunate, but
it's unfortunate, but
yeah.
there you go.
It's part of history, unfortunately. Like it's human history's dark.
It's not like
True.
Miyazaki. Miyazaki obviously
No.
didn't.
Miyazaki, no. Miyazaki didn't know. He didn't know what's going on.
With
American Hollywood.
Sen absolving the conflict that happens with No Face, she's finally freed. However, No Face follows her, and we also have a fight scene with Haku a little bit before these things happen.
Yes.
A little bit more with No Face. These gaki are in Japanese culture, of course. They also exist in Buddhist cultures, and it's the same story of a hungry ghost that can never satiate its hunger. And they often they often are forced to have cravings of like terrible things. So, like, you could have an unsatiable hunger for feces or corpses
Or frogs.
or frogs or any type of like rough thing, and it's thought either they can eat it and it burns up and turns to ash in their mouth, or they can actually taste it depending on the severity of like what they have to eat. Now, in some Buddhist cultures, they actually have ceremonies to help these hungry spirits. And what they do is they put out fresh rice and water during this time. And this is called the Oban season or the Bon Festival. This year.
Better put some curry on there at least.
Nope, just rice and water. Just some dry rice and some wet water. Yeah, yep.
Apparently it's a great
The
diet,
Bon
though.
Festival, the Bon Festival this year is August 13th through August 16th, and of the time of watching and reviewing this film, we are right at the end of the Bon Festival. Just so I don't know. I thought it was
Nice.
interesting, you know.
Mhm. I feel like
Kinda
if I
makes me
died
wanna
and
post
turned
it
into
tomorrow, but I
a
can't.
spirit, I would turn into a hungry one. That's for sure.
Well, at the time of this
Oh, I
recording,
definitely
it's
would.
the 16th. Um,
Mhm.
Oh,
there's
that
also
gotcha.
another faceless ghost that No Face is related to, called
Ooh.
the No Parabo. Um, they are known for scaring people. They're generally harmless. However, they have a human-like shape, and they like to disguise themselves as their victims' loved ones. And then once
And
the victim
hold it. They're
believes that
not
they're the loved
dangerous.
ones,
They're not dangerous. They being manipulative. They being manipulative, and I'm not supposed to think they're not dangerous.
You're even referring to their targets as victims. Well, some harm.
yeah, language is maybe a little gaslighty here. However, with the people that they scare, they do that by looking like the loved ones of the person they are trying to scare, and then once the person believes that, oh, this is my wife, this is my girlfriend, this is my son or
My
daughter or
wife.
whatever, um, they remove all the features of their loved one's face, which yeah,
Hey, come on,
Emotionally
you-
harmful.
no,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's mentally scarring.
Yes. And I suppose that
I'm not
could like
Tommy.
make you have a heart attack. So maybe they're not so harmless.
Yeah,
Maybe
they
only in the
definitely
fact
dicks.
they're
They're
not
definitely dicks.
This is also
attacking
why
you.
this is also why they have the adjective generally. They're generally harmless.
I think that adjective
Dep-
is
depends on
still-
how well you can handle
I
it.
don't think that
Generally, he's doing a lot of work.
I think that's a long stretch. They're trying
I
to
guess
cause heart
compared
attacks.
I guess compared to the ones like that like will rip your balls off or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of like yokai and kami that interact with the mortal world, running into one of these, most of the time they're used in lessons of like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this type of things. There was one I can paraphrase it really quickly, but I don't have like the exact story down. But a man says to his wife, "Oh, it's such a lovely day. I'm going to go fishing in the Imperial Pond." And the wife says, "Don't fish there. The guards are not going to be happy if they catch you." And he says, "Oh, it's fine. It's fine." And then he leaves, goes fishing there anyways. When uh, his daughter says, like, oh, you shouldn't be here, dad, and all this stuff, and he's like, well, what do you mean? And then they're like, oh, I'm gonna get a guard, and then like they have like a close face to face, and she pulls her face off. This scares him. He runs home to his wife and tells his wife what happened, which she in turn replies with, "That's why I told you not to fish there," and then she pulls her face off. Essentially, like, you know um like listen to your wife when she tells you not to do
Or she'll
things.
pull off her fucking face and
Yeah,
mind
dude.
fuck you.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
So-
So the next major thing that we have
Hey.
happen.
I hate
Go
to
ahead.
do you're gonna have to cliff note it. We're on 1 hour and 20 right now, unless we want to do 2 parts.
Oh no, I can wrap it up real quick. So next big thing that happens is Haku gets chased. While this happens, she goes up into Ubaba's little lair thing at the very top of the bathhouse. Haku gets chased by these little papers. The papers are Shigigami spirits. And these are often conjured to serve their masters and are invisible unless they are bound to the paper. Which is how she meets the baby. The massive baby that Yubaba has constantly been caring for is based off of Kintaro, the golden boy.
Oh yeah, he looks like a golden boy.
Oh
The
yeah, for sure. To be
Kintaro's
honest,
story.
he kind of, to be honest, like he's right beside me. He kind of looks like one of those golden Buddha statues that make him look jolly and
Yeah,
fat.
yeah.
Mhm.
Kintaro is there's a whole the story of Kintaro is very important to Japanese mythology. However, he was a child left in the woods to be raised by a mountain witch, and then he grows into a giant beefy
Nice.
toddler with great strength, courage, and the ability to talk to animals. It can be said that this also starts Kintaro's hero's journey upon meeting her. Um, Zeniba switches all of Ubaba's family, I guess, around. The heads become the baby becomes a mouse, and the bird clone of herself becomes a tiny little bird. Um,
Like a little scribble bird.
yeah,
I like it. It was kind of contrasted with like all the animation.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
was.
very
Yeah, I
cute.
like that a lot. Um,
Hmm.
then after that, we have one of the things that's really really cool about No Face and why I think that he is representative
We
of
kind
the
of skip.
viewer.
Hold. We can't. We got it. You kind of skipped over the fact that Yababa Norded Haku.
What?
I don't think he understand. He doesn't understand your Kingdom Hearts references.
What?
To fucking,
And he doesn't understand Norded as a verb. That's not
So
in his
I was
lexicon.
actually wondering this, like, so Haku. So why we meet Zeniba is because Haku has stolen something from her.
from you
Um,
because he's under the control of Yababa.
Yeah, the stamp. The stamp.
the
He-
seal, yes.
Yep.
He
The
has a
magical
Nort slug.
seal.
He has a Nort slug inside of him from
The
Yababa.
stamp of clamp.
It's
Yep,
part of the
so-
villain's tridecagon. You gotta Nort.
So-
if you want to be a successful villain, you gotta Nort a boy.
So
Yeah.
Ubaba has control over Haku, which is why he will only ever be the apprentice in her eyes.
Yes, and this
That
is
Norden's,
some of
a
my
boy,
my
is taking
confusion
control
and
over him.
some of why I think that my rating is not a 5 out of 5. I got a little confused about this kind of stuff because, like, if she is controlling him, how much is she controlling him? Because he is still helping Sen, and she doesn't seem to know about that.
To be honest, I think Haku was tricking tricking her from to begin with, but her love was fucking up the spell because true love, as we learned from Zeniba, trumps all. So
Right. I mean,
that could
Haku
have totally
does.
been.
Haku does genuinely try to help her before she is captured. He tries to get her out of there before she's captured
Yeah,
by the spirits in the beginning. Is what I'm presented with. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I always thought
what the
that
intention was, but
I always thought that was just the spell breaking for a minute. It's
because
never permanent
because he recognized her.
yeah.
So I guess that I was getting kind of confused, and that's
Or,
why the
you know,
Haku stuff wasn't the
we
most.
don't know when it comes. We don't know when he was Norded though.
Yeah,
So we don't know when he got the Nort slug.
It also seemed
so
arbitrary when he was like a dragon or not, too.
I'm not 100% sure. She could have taken control of him early on just to steal the symbol, for all we know.
Mm-hmm.
But Lin does say, like, don't trust Haku, like, pretty much right away. So
Yeah.
don't trust him. So, like, I don't know. I guess that's
nowhere.
yeah, that's part of why it came down a 0.5 rating because this stuff to me is just not explained or clear or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's probably nuance we lost in the 3-hour cut, and who. You know what? I'm gonna be upset if the 3-hour cut would have been God tier.
You know
I'm gonna be so upset.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I'm kind
I'm
of
gonna-
interested in this set because I'll watch a 3-hour movie if
I-
especially at home. If I'm gonna sit down and I'm expecting it, I'm
gonna
ready
have
for
to,
that.
There is no.
If it's a
I
Ghibli
done looked
one, yeah.
for it. I done looked. There's no director's cut or nothing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's nothing.
I didn't think there was, but
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't
you
think
know,
I don't
invent
think
time travel and fucking get that 3-hour cut.
I don't think
But
the
I could
3-hour cut was ever animated. I think it was
No,
probably
it was.
storyboarded.
It was. It was.
Yeah,
It was
it was-
fully.
I think
complete.
probably
That it was complete, and
Mhm.
he had to cut. He had to delete and get and just completely scrap scenes that were fully animated and everything. The 3-hour cut was made. It's just it was just too long. He cut a lot of He cut a lot of like he says unnecessary nuances and stuff like that. But I don't know, man. This
might have been necessary.
yeah.
I could see like a red herring plot of like Haku like being taken out. Like I could totally see that. Like I could see that being a missing piece out of this.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
gotta
it kind of
say-
already
just like,
was
nah,
like
nah,
a
we'll
little
just-
bit of a red herring because we had
I-
people,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was like
like
a tiny herring.
don't
It was kind of a
trust
half-assed
him.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
And but
he's
like even
there
when
and
she starts
present.
hanging out with Haku, like Lynn doesn't say anything else about it.
No, she
Hey.
doesn't.
I know he's there and present, but Haku might have in the 3-hour cut. He might have died because he seems kind of absent from the climax. Like he seems to kind of had like disappeared when she's picking the pigs and everything. He's not there. He's not like right beside her or anything. But he's supposed to be present at that scene. But he's not, and we don't see him again until the farewell. So
I
that,
just I don't know the mechanics of a spirit dying.
so that farewell
it
might have
coming
been
back.
a quick like, oh, we didn't really explain Haku. He just disappears. Like, so let's animate this farewell scene real quick.
Right.
Well, I'll try to let Starfish.
Yes,
wrap
we
up
went
the,
off on
the
another
summary.
tangent.
Yes, because I do want to have like last thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Anyways, I'll be quick. All I really have is that I actually think No Face is representative of the person or persons watching the film, because he is a chameleon. So we see a glimpse at the beginning, and then we are invited in by Sen into the bathhouse. Of course, we want to gorge on this beautiful feast of the eyes. However, then when we get on the train ride, after Haku gets beaten up, and we have our pals with us, a giant baby turned into a mouse, and a small little squawk bird looking thing, and No Face comes with us. Lynn helps Sen escape onto the train station. We get a really awesome passing of time, with Sen now kind of being more of a full person, knowing what she's trying to do, which is save Haku from dying. And then we get to meet Zeniba.
I want to state before we
at her
meet
house?
Zeniba, before we met her, there was a good use of silence. Miyazaki used that train, like it was a very silent scene, and it was a very
Yeah.
good use of it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the whole train sequence, and I actually really like the idea of a train like on an ocean. Like I feel like that just is aesthetically very interesting.
Oh yeah, it was really it's a beautiful scene, that is for sure.
And then we go to Zeniba's house. Zeniba seems to be the antithesis of Yubaba. We find out that they're twins, and Zeniba is this sweet, sweet lady, and we don't see No Face flying off the rails anymore. He's content to be traveling with Sen, which is why I think that, like, for my own personal, like, it doesn't have anything to do with any of the mythology or anything like that. Just I think No Face is supposed to represent us, the viewers,
I would agree.
which is why
if
he's like calm and sweet.
I'm
in
No
that.
Face in the bathhouse. Outside the bathhouse. Like I want to consume. I want to consume more of the world of the
Right.
Miyazaki created. Like it's not.
Yeah.
I don't get enough of this world. Like I'm a cretin, I guess, that just wants to.
We
I want to
need
devour these.
we need a Miyazaki-led TV show that's just like Adventures of No Face, and each
Oh,
episode is
yeah.
just like 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
just
that'd be
like
sweet.
a short snippet into this spirit world that Miyazaki created because it's so fucking amazing.
Yes, I would love
Yeah, you
that.
could have like a could you have each episode kind of represent an emotion that he gets caught up in.
Yeah.
Ah,
Oh
yes.
yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, somebody call him.
All right. Oh
I'll
shit.
get right on the line. Uh, Zaniba essentially validates Sen Chihiro as like, you had the right stuff all along. This is what you're supposed to do. It's an honorable quest. You're an honorable person. You're nice. All this stuff. And then um, we have Haku come back. And Haku and her fly back to the bathhouse when she utters Haku's full name, which is the full name of the river that Haku is supposed to represent. Ubaba's spell is completely broken over him, and he now has free will. They get back, and then they have the guessing game to figure out her parents. She knows that none of them are her parents because I don't think that she actually knows this. I think that she just knows how Ubaba thinks at this point.
Mhm.
That's my guess into that. I don't think that she could actually tell any of the pigs apart.
No, I don't think she could.
I
Um, and,
yeah, same here. Sorry for
and,
any
and then
background noise, by the way.
oh, you're good. And then we get the family reunited, and things kind of just go back to how they were. Really
Mhm.
exemplifying the fact that this movie is like what this movie's title is, right? You get
Mhm.
whisked away on this grand adventure, and then you're right back.
Right back getting
Mm.
gaslit by your parents.
Yep, right,
Yep.
right
Oh
back.
yeah.
The parents did not learn a goddamn thing.
Nope, nothing. But it wasn't
Belittled.
their journey. It wasn't their
It
hero's
wasn't
journey.
their journey.
They weren't supposed to learn.
They learned nothing. They just became
Oh.
pigs and had the best time of their life.
All right. So we've been going on for quite a while. Final ratings. I know I didn't convince anybody to raise it. I'm 5 out of 5, obviously. Give y'all's
Mhm.
ratings.
4.5. Do you want me
5
to
out of 5.
elaborate?
I'll go. I just wanted to go last because I have
Gotcha.
to elaborate.
Okay, I will go. Everything about this movie was really awesome. It was beautiful to look at. I mean, all of the, audio, visual, everything was really good. I think some of the things just felt a little tedious for me. I think some of the Haku stuff was a little tedious. Um, I I do I think that, you know, Chihiro and Sen, she didn't, I don't know if she really needed this lesson. She did, but it's not like she was a bad kid. Like in more Western fairy tales and stuff, like usually there's something wrong with the person who is learning the lesson. I don't think there was anything wrong with her. Like
She was kind
she
of paying for her parents, really.
Yeah, she was. And
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
definitely
she was
was.
kind of
I
she
guess
was
that
kind of complaining about, moving to a new
you
school, but like what kid wouldn't,
you could probably
it's
say
scary.
Yeah, it
you could
sucks.
probably say that it's a stand-in for you inherit the sins of your parents. That's all I was trying to get at.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I
I
mean,
think
that's how a lot of cultures
you
do
could
view that.
interpret it as like, oh, she wasn't fully on board for this new adventure, but maybe I'm
She
just
definitely
biased
refused
because
to call.
I have had to move so many times in my life and it's gut-wrenching and terrible.
Mhm.
So I was not faulting her for her attitude about moving, and her parents are just super awful. They need a lesson for sure.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Her
I
parents need a
100%
lesson.
agree.
I don't know where I was going with that, but I think that's just like a few of the reasons. I think more it was just like a little bit tedious with some Haku stuff. Not that it super detracts from the film because 4.5 is a very high rating for me. So
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think for me personally, I give it a 5 out of 5 because my interpretation of this film is a coming of age story. I don't really feel like any type of lessons were learned, more of like someone who's kind of unsure of themselves realizing that like, oh, I can be sure of myself.
Yes.
Mm.
That's how I take it.
I
And I
I
think she learned like how to be
she
like
learns confidence. That would be a
Yeah,
lesson.
she learns a
confidence
lot.
and
Yeah.
politeness too.
She
Yeah, politeness
there's
so she
many
could like
lessons
adapt
she
better.
Yeah, some selflessness. She learned some selflessness,
yeah, which is
especially
good.
with like
I
distinct spirit and
I
stuff like
guess you can
that.
say there's not just
Yeah.
one general message, and like there's many messages in this to the point where there's not a message.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
really wanted her parents, like, because yeah, her parents did get punished, but they don't remember it. I want them to like
Mhm.
remember getting punished.
Oh yeah, they should
Mhm.
they should have been able to. They should had some
They
consequence.
probably do. They're just in
They-
denial.
Oh,
They
yeah.
think a lot of themselves.
That didn't happen.
Oh, they're
Um,
definitely not gonna talk to the kid about it.
I know I've taken a lot of airtime on this one
Yes.
because of my research.
Oh,
The
you're good.
last thing I will say, the radish spirit is also from traditional Japanese folklore, and it is the patron deity of silk production. The
Oh,
original
my favorite
looks
character.
absolutely nothing like the ones that we see in Spirited Away. They're often very slender and covered in silk. Miyazaki made them that way, probably because of all the giant radishes he's seen in his life.
Oh,
Mhm.
and to
Still,
Yeah,
probably
that
make
Also,
that
you
five out
can-
of
radish
five.
that radish was thick. Yeah.
to make
They were
He
all
spent a
thick.
lot
he's
of time
trying
at
to
the
make
bathhouse.
radishes
Let's
more
just say
appealing to
that.
kids. That's exactly what he was trying to do. Because he could, to be honest, the radish spirit would have been a little scary if he was a skinny, like skinny silk covered radish. Oh,
Yeah,
but
be
you could.
terrifying.
I mean, they don't really animate it too well, but you could say he just like has very thick silk fur. That's not like his thickness.
I would say
I don't
No,
know.
dude.
His
he
nipples
made
were
me-
on
No.
his
his
nipples were
nipples made
on
me
the
a little bit
surface.
uncomfortable.
His nipples were on the surface. That was skin. That wasn't
Okay.
fur.
They
Okay.
made
Yeah.
they made him a little bit more intimidating. The nipples made him intimidating.
I wasn't intimidated.
The side
I
eye.
was a party with the radish guy. I liked him.
Thick
I don't know, just like
side eye, nipples out.
side eye, yeah, side eye, and you like crushed like under his man tit.
He
Like,
would never do
you
that
just-
though.
you
The
just like, he
radish
could crush
spirit
you.
is friendly. He's a friendly spirit. He helped. He
Mm.
did nothing but help and vibe through the whole film.
Yeah, I mean, he was just guiding her. Like he didn't do anything scary, but I mean, he's
Yeah, yeah.
intimidating. He's got big
Mhm.
old radish titties.
Yeah,
Oh, we
they're
can
intimidating titties.
agree to disagree on this. He's a part of that to me.
You don't think he has big radish titties?
Once you get
Yeah,
to
he
know him,
disagree?
does.
once you get to know
I
him,
don't think he's
Once you get to know
intimidating.
once I get his vibe, I'm fine. Once I get his vibe, I'm fine. I'm just saying, like initially when I'm trapped on that elevator and I don't know what his deal is, he's just been stalking us.
Because he wants to party
Lynn
with
didn't
you.
explain him.
You know how hard it is to ask a stranger if they want to go smoke a joint? Come on now. It's damn near impossible. You got to give the side eye, and you got to make sure they understand what the side eye means, and usually you look like a creep.
Nipple out.
All I'm saying is I just don't
Nipple
want
out.
him to be like, suck on my titty. 'Cause then, you know what?
Nipple out.
The radish spirit would never do that. He's a mouth breather.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Nipple
have the
He's got
out.
the
confidence to do
power.
that. He doesn't have the confidence, though. But yeah, what's your, did you give your rating, Spooge?
Oh no. Mine's 5, but I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say it's not a god tier. I'm not gonna say it's not a 6, but I'm saying that 6 it's pending. It might be pending. There's some bureaucracy that got fucked up, but
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I will not
I need
mind-
another go at this a little later.
Okay, we could always do a Redux episode later down the line.
Oh yeah.
we got plenty of Redux episodes to do.
So I'll say pending 5.
Pending
Alright.
5. Mine's still
Alright.
1.5.
So sorry for my background noise. I gotta wrap this up.
All right, let's wrap it up. What's the
yeah,
final rating from everyone?
Yeah, we said it.
5 out of 5.
Not everyone said it.
Oh yeah.
5 out of 5.
Oh,
All right.
5 out of 5.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. If you've been listening this long, thank you so much. Kind of hate we had to wrap this up, but please like, comment, and share on the video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Follow if you're listening on the Odyssey channel. Do y'all have a sign off?
Radish titties.
Radish.
Radish
That's a
titties.
Comment about that.
All right.
Sorry for filling it with so many factoids.
All right. This will be. Thank you. This will be a bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Be careful
Bye.
of ducks.
Thank you.
Bye.